Good evening, all of you beautiful people on the internet. How are you doing tonight? My name is Josh. You are here at Bonus Stage, and tonight we have a special Let's Listen episode. We are joined by Chase Bethea, and we are celebrating the upcoming release, I suppose, of the Aground Zero soundtrack. Chase, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Josh. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great pleasure to have you here. I'm doing well. I had the honor of meeting you, Chase, at MAGWest in 2024. That was really cool. We got you up on stage with some of the oh god, was that the Reno Video Game Symphony crew? I remember Ranja was
VVGO
up
as well,
there.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the VVGO, of course. Yeah, I remember seeing you way down the line from Ranja, a good friend, also frequent person in this channel. But yeah, we were talking about other things, and today, oh dang, we've got a raid kicking things off. Yo, Young Games
Yes.
916, raiding with it
Young.
pretty. What is going on, Young? Thank you so much for bringing your crowd into us. And hello, my name is Josh. If you're raiding, then you must kind of know what's going on. We've got your buddy Chase here, and we're going to talk all about, all about. Oh my god, what is that little dancing thing? Oh my goodness,
Those spuds, those are spuds.
those are
You got
spuds.
to get the
Okay,
spuds for energy.
thank you for
Haters.
clarifying that one.
What's haters, eh?
Oh my gosh. Yes, everyone's excited to hear Chase's music. Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. So much hype, so much friendship, so much love. Yeah, so then great. Everybody's on the same page. We are here to preview, I guess, 9 tracks from the upcoming Aground Zero project. And Chase, this is I guess, a spin off of the original Aground video game, which you also worked on. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I worked on the original ground.
Nice, nice. Okay. Well, in doing some research for this listening party, I definitely, I didn't necessarily play the demo. I did look at some footage of it. It looks like a 3D version of a ground, and also kind of like a kickoff, more into like the sci-fi era of the technology that you can get in a ground. And so I'm expecting that we're going to be dealing with so much more futuristic sound templates and things like that with this one. But I'm maybe getting ahead of things a little bit. Chase, why don't you take a minute and tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Aground in the first place?
Wow. Yeah. So Aground, it's the 5-year anniversary in April this year. So there's actually going to be something really cool coming out if it all comes together. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but there's something really cool coming out musically, and it will be one of my first musical type of things that has come out. I've been waiting for this for a long time. So in terms of Aground, 5 years ago, started development in conjunction with Snowbox and Fancy Fish Games, and then I've been working with Fancy Fish Games for 12, 13 years, and fortunate to be working on many projects with them. And yeah, we made Aground. It was like the 2D survival crafting thing, and we worked on it. I was actually in my senior year of uni at the time, and trying to make that happen. And I think the one thing most people don't know is it took me 3 months just to write the theme for Aground. I meticulously did it on purpose because I needed the theme to come to me naturally, and I didn't want to rush it like I typically would. And so when the artist first heard it, he was thinking like, I don't know if it fits. I'm like, let it sink, or what do they say nowadays? Like, let it cook.
Mm.
So, and yeah, and then people loved it, and they love the theme to this day. So that's the originality and the etymology mostly of the ground.
Nice, nice, very cool. Well, yeah. If anybody here is not familiar with the original Aground game, it's a 2D mining resource game. You kind of like start out with nothing, very survival mode, mining for resources, crafting, that sort of thing. But you can basically go from nothing up to the point where you're doing space combat and everything in between. So it's a game that has an incredible amount of depth. And then now we're here on to Aground Zero. So Chase, I know you've been on the team. I'm sure you've got a lot of peeks that you could give us behind the curtain. Yeah, what was kind of like the impetus behind moving for a 3D style game, and kind of the direction that Aground Zero took?
Yeah, I mean, it took a way different direction because the typical sense that most people attribute it to is for ground is like the 2D Minecraft with the story
Mhm.
and in Terraria. So it was a ground, it was Minecraft and Terraria, but the ground with a story and a purpose. You could do the science path, the magic path, and then when I was playing, I was trying to do both, and then other people would try to do both, and then it became a hybrid path. So I like that. And then now it's a ground zero. It's mostly just doing it's not Factorio and Minecraft, but in 3D. And so the palette is very important because musically, when I write music, I'm trying to make sure that if you're not in the room, if someone else is playing the game, you'll identify it sonically by knowing what's going on. So it was no more retro sounding type of synths and stuff. I went with more modern sound. There's
Mhm.
even like a track in there that it deviates from the electronic stuff. I don't want to spoil it, but there's one track in there that has barely anything else, but it's kind of sci-fi similar, I guess, in that context. So yeah, you're building stuff up, you're still going building your way up through, and it ties into the original ground in a way. So there's definitely some connections there.
Very cool. Thank you for setting the scene for us here as we get ready to listen. Yeah, when I was doing my preview, definitely identified like some good kind of like industrial style sounds, you know, things that evoked being in a mine. Things like, yeah, like you were saying, Factorio, definitely some industrial kind of influences there. And we'll definitely pick your brain a little bit more as we get some of those sounds fresh in our minds,
Yeah.
just to understand where you're coming from. And if I'm not mistaken, you did prepare a journal to reference for some of those notes. This is a soon-to-be artifact in the video game history world. Do you want to let us
Yes.
know a little bit about that before we start listening to some music here?
Yeah. I have a specific journal for every game project that I've worked on for the past 5,110 days. And so every journal is documented in terms of what my thought process is like in terms of creativity or my mental state, what worked, what didn't, why it worked, what came from it, and so on. And then also it's because it kind of stems from even like being a child. Like my dad and mom told me like if you're not going to remember something, you need to write it down. And so
Mm.
I've gotten to the point where I've been working on these games for so long, I don't remember what's going on in the moment. So when I do these, I'm like, well, how did you make that track? I'm glad I wrote it down, or I have at least audio. I have what is it called? Audio logs that I'll be able to release later. Whereas I could share that with you because when it's happening in the moment, I am just doing. And so when I have to recall that, I'm thinking, oh yeah, what was that again? So this is documented. There's really cool things in here too.
The proof of the process, yes.
Right. Yes.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. All right. Well, yeah, we'll see if we need to refer to it as the night goes on. Oh man.
For sure.
But yeah, we've kind of set the scene. We've got a ground where we're like Minecraft meets Factorio. Yeah, definitely readying your ears for what you're about to hear. And we've got two tracks that we're going to listen to up front. But for the rest of the night, obviously we're used to having a lot of video game cover projects here on Let's Listen. But since we have an actual video game composer, we're definitely going to want to sink our teeth in a little bit more into the meat of what is behind these compositions. And so we look forward to breaking that down with you, Chase. But yeah, coming up first, yeah, if you want to follow along with the track order, actually, I'm going to drop the link to Bandcamp here in chat so that you can follow along and pre-order as well. Definitely recommend pre-ordering this album. You're going to enjoy what you hear tonight, and there is a lot more to come, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, tonight we're going to start with Zero Tolerance as well as Organization. I do love a good pun. But yeah, Zero
Thank you for
Tolerance.
noticing. Thank you.
It's all in the spelling. So yeah, so once you see the title, everybody else, you'll also notice that. But yeah, Zero Tolerance, just a quick track just to open the title, and then we're gonna dig in, as it were, into Organization. So Chase, I know you're new to the channel. We have a little bit of a shtick around here, but I'm just gonna see what you come up with in response to this prompt. Let's
Go. Let's listen. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Let's
that's a
listen.
troll. Oh my god. I love it. Thank you, Chase. All right. Let's listen, folks. Here we go. All right, we had to milk the tail on that one. That is an atmospheric track, folks. Yeah, we just listened to Zero Tolerance, the opening to Aground Zero, and then the first track that you hear. I assume I'm you step in and correct me at any point, Chase, if you need to. But yeah, organization being the opening music when you actually start to play the game. Is that all right, Chase? Okay, good. I've got all my
You got it
facts.
right. Yeah. So zero tolerance is the main screen, and then when you transition, then organization is the first level of that music, and so that's where it plays.
Okay, first level of that music. Yeah, we were talking a little bit backstage about well, not really digging into it because we definitely wanted to save the juice for you folks, for the audience. But Chase, you were kind of giving me some teases about implementation, about dynamic soundtracks, and also some of the innovation that you're doing with this soundtrack. And obviously, that ties into the conversation about how there's only 9 tracks on this pre-order at the moment. I don't know where to start with all of this. This is obviously a
It's fine.
lot of really cool sounding stuff. But Chase, do you want to just let us know what the heck is going on here?
Yeah. So this is a dynamic music soundtrack. So linearly, you're all vibing, you're enjoying it, and that's for where you're every day. Most people say like, I don't have anything to work through and stuff like that. Work to for the music stuff. Now you do. You have a lot of stuff. You have ups, you have some in betweens. But play the game, play the demo, and you'll see why. So organization is the beginning purpose of in terms of when you're playing the game, every item that you choose within the UI, the music will change every single item. And so that's the when you heard different parts of the organization, that's the seamless transitions that are happening between. And so I had to go through and do math, which you can see here,
It's in
whereas
the
then I
journal.
step through the process of every decimal point system that works until it seamlessly transitions between every state within organization, no matter what part of it is. So if you're using the laser, the music's going to change. And then you're going to use the defibrillator, whatever item you got, the music's going to change. And if you got to use like the blueprints, then the music's going to change. And so that typically doesn't happen in survival crafting games. When I did the talk, I'll be releasing the talk on my YouTube channel. When I asked the audience, they said, "Oh yeah, I guess one game may have done it, but nothing has ever kind of been done within that sound. It's usually just one track and it loops. But these players are going to be down there for hours. You're going to be crafting. Some people turn the music off. Now you can't because it's tied to the mechanic. It's not on purpose. It's just because I was thinking, what if I have that experimental mind of like a programmer in this sense? Like, what if I did this and what if I did that? Could I make it work? And it's all done without middleware because I didn't have the middleware that I typically use that would work well with the engine that would be supported. So that's why the math and it works. Luckily for me, I took HTML in high school and I got the best website design in class. So I just use HTML code to do the thing and now it works. And so in conjunction with the programmer, we collaborated, we got it working, and there it is. And that's level 1 theme of it is just the item changing. So, and there's multiplayer co-op. And I think also like you can do it locally. And then obviously like if you're in some other place that's not local, then it works together. But the person who's the main will have the control of when using the items and the music will follow that. So it won't ever cross over.
Wow, that is some insane implementation. And the fact that you had to do HTML code to implement it. That's it's just it brings back the days of yore when when like Nintendo programmers would have to do that kind of magic just to make work within the limitations that they had and such. So that sounds incredible. Talking about how you change the music based on the item that you're using, it makes me ask, are you also involved with the sound design? Are you responsible for like the sounds in the game? No. Okay. Was there any collaboration where you had to be like, oh, we're going to be using this noisy tool. I'm going to change the sound of the music so that it complements or works around that sound. Was there anything like that?
No, in previous games that worked with on the developer, yes, but this time it really didn't. That conversation never came up, and they
Mhm.
kind of just handled the sound that they had, or probably used stuff that I've made from many other games and put them in there and stuff, and that was it. I was really just focused on making sure the dynamic implementation and the music design and the textures were proper.
Mm. Yeah, you definitely had a full plate there. But you devoured it, man. That sounds amazing.
I finished my food. My
Oh,
champ must show.
oh dang. Yeah, you ate the food, you did the work, you got the muscles, and all the crafting stations are busy at work. Yeah, when I was listening to organization, I just made a couple of listening notes, things that I picked up that kind of like helped me, I guess, like understand the scene, not playing the game, but also kind of like understanding where things are going. I just took note that it was kind of busy without being terribly complex. Very, very good quote unquote work music. Like not necessarily like lo-fi girl on YouTube. It's definitely a little bit more active than that. And I also liked the way that you used the arps. They kind of sounded like glimmers in the dark in the distance. Things to be sought after. Those were just the notes that I took during organization. Beautiful track, and it went like several places. I picked up like 3 distinct kind of movements within that piece, and I'm sure there's even more that you could shed light on there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, because like I was saying, players are going to be crafting for hours in this space, and so I really wanted to make sure that it sounded good sonically and it felt good, whereas you feel completely immersed, and that was the goal.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's beautiful. Goal met. Goal achieved. That's really cool. All right, we're gonna get into our next track, and folks, this is where we start to dig into each track individually. The next one coming up is Down the Hole to the Right. And on your Bandcamp, there's a link to a video there, and the video isn't of the music; it's of gameplay, and the gameplay is just like going around what basically looks like this game's version of liminal spaces and being chased or chasing like dune sandworm type monsters. Yeah, is so what's the story behind Down the Hole to the Right? Is that like kind of like a dangerous combat style composition for this game?
Yes, so that is the combat and exploratory transition for the theme of what's happening for the second level. So the item transitions will no longer happen. It's just now focusing on what you're going to experience.
Okay. All right. Cool. Is there any more preview that you want to give to that track than that? We will definitely take the time to break it down after we get on the other side here.
No, let's hop right in.
Let's hop right in. That's very fitting prompt to say Down the Hole to the Right. We're going to hop into Down the Hole to the Right. There we go. I said it right. All right, Chase, help me out here. Let's
listen.
All right, that was down the hole to the right. Definitely sounds like a line that you would say to somebody in an escape. You're like, okay, go down the hole to the right. You know that definitely evokes the feelings that I've gotten from this song. Yeah, I made some more notes and just wanted to get those out. The descending pattern at the beginning, accompanied by the deep bass, definitely evokes like lower levels, some danger, more action. And I really like some of those more glitchy, like crushed sounds that you used in the percussion. Yeah, there was something that was just coming right ahead of the snare there that just like rolled really nicely into that sound. It was really cool. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I had to say about it. But everybody wants to know what you have to say about your own song, Chase.
So down the hole to the right, let's see. It was I just was looking at some of the things today. I have it on my little spreadsheet. It I finished it January 1st, 2023.
Oh wow.
So I just got back from my MAGFest trip, my very first MAGFest, and yeah, and I was brought out as a celebrity guest, and that was an experience for sure. And I remember listening to a track that came on, I think in the airport, and it was just I can't remember the track right now, but the opening that you hear, that was something in a different song. I thought, okay, I'm just going to do that rhythm and I'm going to try that and I'm going to expand upon it. And because I need it to kind of be separate from organizational because this is actually really what the feeling of a ground zero is. And because now we're in the exploratory form properly, and we're going to be entering into some combat stuff eventually soon. And I really had no idea. I struggled a lot to try to make 4 minutes out of this. So it evolves as I'm evolving
Mm,
because I'm thinking, okay, how what is it going to feel like for the player in terms of these sections that I've already started with this item system, and how can I expand on, because like I'm layering while I'm layering and I'm layering because, so the music's being layered but I'm layering my thoughts, and then the game is layered from that layer to the other, and it all has to tie together. So when I'm writing game, most people think like, oh yeah, write game music, you have no idea what's going on in this brain of mine. Like it is complex stuff. And I'm trying to figure it out as a puzzle that's also evolving in real time because the game's not done. So
right.
it's happening as I'm producing it too. So everything's typically growing together. So that is typically and I love naming tracks. I used to name tracks in these weird things. Like if you're familiar with the Aground soundtrack, there's Sigum Uduv Leps, which if you put it in the mirror, it spells the actual name backwards properly. But you can't say that to Alexa or Google and say, hey, play Sigum Uduv Leps. They're like, well, can't compute or something. They're just like by Chase Bethea, okay, well, we're gonna play the song that we know how that's English. So I stopped naming that, but I have like a whole list of names now that when I'm inspired by something, I hear something I can just choose from and then I name it. And so when I was watching some film, I heard that. I can't remember what film that was, and they said this way, and I'm thinking, oh, that's perfect for when you're in the actual game because you're going to the right, you're going to the left, you're going up, you're going down, and that's easy. Alexa can say, hey, Alexa, play Down the Hole to the Right by Chase Bethea, and
Nice.
it'll play it. It won't say Sigum Udu Vleps.
Oh man, shout out Alexa, the real MVP. No. Oh my gosh. No, just like your comment about the layers. Oh my god. I love
Yeah, I heard you like layers. That's typically my music.
Yeah, no, I'm picking that up. Yeah, this game is sounding more and more interesting. So this game right now is in early access. It's going to be released as 1.0 on April 4th, if I'm not
April
mistaken.
4th.
That's
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
right, right.
I'm out of
Is
early access into launch.
is there a lot more work for you to do on that end before
Nope.
1.0? You're done. You're
Nope.
just sitting
No,
on your
I'm done.
laurels. Oh
I'm
man.
done.
Oh,
I'm done. It's tour time. It's tour time. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to perform this live. If everyone likes it, and not everyone, but if most people like it, I tested. talking about it briefly here and there. Some people said they got Metroid Prime vibes, which is a big honor for me. I'm very thankful
Yep.
for that. That's like a huge compliment.
Yeah.
And I was at MAGFest again this year as a celebrity guest, and I asked to say, would you see this live? And I was thinking, yeah. And so I have this whole concept that I really want to do. So I'm ready to tour.
Wow. Okay. Let's just have a little pit stop here. I want to hear about the live version of this. What is going to go on? What's that going to look like?
I I don't know. I know the game's going to be played in the background, and I might be performing at Level Up Expo in Las Vegas. That's all I know.
Whoa! Wow. Okay. Is that? Are you leaking that here live right now?
Yeah, I'm leaking it right now.
Oh my God! All right, there's your
So
exclusive,
come out, get a
everyone.
ticket, come to the show, see me on stage, and like I said, we'll take it from there.
Wow. Oh, that's cool. Okay. What part of the soundtrack are you going to be performing live? Are you doing keys? Are you going to do something else? What's your performance?
Yeah. That's all I can say. That's
Wow.
all I can say.
Okay. Wow. All right. I guess everyone will just have to go see you in
Stay
Las
tuned.
Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned. I have the newsletter. I could definitely push it through like to you, and you can share too and stuff like that. But stay tuned.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know it's
Wow.
next month, but stay tuned.
Oh man. Oh, that's so cool. All right. Well, yeah, Chase on the road. Let's do it. That's so cool. Yeah, I meant to ask this during the last break, but I just maybe this is a bit of a bigger discussion that we can break up throughout the show. But
Sure.
I know that you were saying how in the original Aground, you were using some more retro sounds and things like that. Obviously, we're hearing much more modern sounds, much richer tones and ideas happening as well for Zero. What? How did you come to like approach doing a Ground Zero versus writing for Aground? Like, did you need different software? Were you using different instruments or sound fonts? Like, what was kind of like what made it so much different for you?
So my focus for ground, as I'm pulling some stuff, because I quick pulling things as you're asking me. I'm like, oh yeah, I can show this.
Yeah.
So the focus for ground was to give the sense of exploration and expansion along with and cover all aspects of the theme from magic to science to hybrid
Mhm.
and build upon the main theme and then give every theme an island. I did a talk about this at several conferences, Game Sound Con, Pixel Pop, forgot the other two I did. It was Game Desert Color, and then I actually did the Game Desert Color blueprints from something the blueprints crafting sounds in terms of like the sonic palette and the specificity of what I was thinking about for the palette. Like I said, is it has to be distinctive. Whereas, in if you weren't in the room and you heard the music or anything, you know that that's the game. The sonic
Mhm.
identity is very important because that's the era I come from. Is that if I heard I know it's NBA Jam. You got to hear he's on fire, and then that gives it away. But there's
Razzle
other things
dazzle.
that come. Like, yeah, he's heating up. You know.
I
But
know.
if you're
Yeah.
hearing the TMNT, if you're hearing X-Men in terms of
Mm.
whatever the arcade sound or things like that too, like there's a sonic identity. So the arcade era and the palette in terms of limitations really showed me that that's really powerful and I can still use that to this day. And I will as I go forward. So in this case, I was doing some early implementation or some experimentation rather with the Korg ES1. And
Ooh.
this will be showing up further down in the soundtrack, and I'll tell which one it is when we get there. And that defines a different set of it because I didn't use any hardware, electronic instruments, or anything for a ground. And so that's why I felt it's still retro, but it doesn't sound like it is. And so that's where I kind of built for some things, added onto the theme. And the developer was also saying, yeah, we definitely don't want it to sound like this, but we also want references of the grounds as well from the track. So make that happen however you're going to do it. And I was thinking,
Mhm.
okay, I had to flip my own stuff. I had to remix my own things. I never did that before.
Oh, that's cool. And that does remind me, and maybe we don't need to dig into it just yet, but one of the things that you mentioned in the write up on your Bandcamp is that uh, there's some familiar motifs, and I think that we talked backstage about how some of those motifs are coming from Aground, and like maybe we can just cover it if it's come up already. Are there any motifs that have been shared yet between the two games?
Yeah, in organization, the main theme of Aground has already shown up, and
Nice.
so this is where I'm really asking people to how I write is you're not it grows it's supposed to grow with you and grow with you in time, whereas in like, you really have the impetus to say like I want to hear the soundtrack again. I'm writing with things to be listened to over and over and over, so you catch something new every time, from the panning in the ears, from the instruments to the counter melodies to the main melody to the elisions to the texture, the timbre, everything is methodically thought of in the special way for the listener and the game. So it's like in terms of that cohesiveness. So the main theme has already shown up in organization a couple times. Down the hole to the right has a couple as well. Let me check the sheet to see if what was my
For
cat
this
here.
stuff.
It's an audio asset list sheet, which really keeps things in order.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it has reference to the main ground title. Yep, that's already there. And then so floor 2 have references to the magic island, Sigum Uduv Lep. So we'll listen to Sigum Uduv Lep. go put the track name in the mirror, and then no, I won't make y'all work that hard. I will share what it is. It means magic voodoo spell.
Okay. That's very appropriate that you would have that spelled backwards. Oh man, those are some big brain moves, Chase. Oh my gosh.
Big brain moves. I love it. Yes. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we're gonna get ready for the next track here. We've got Nothing Less, Nothing More. I like. There's nothing to say about it, is there? I'm sure we'll find lots to say.
I'll share after where it came from.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe just to prep people's ears. What is the context that we are hearing this track in?
Okay, sure. Yeah, this is floor 3. This is where this comes in. So there's a theme in terms of it being a subway. So think about ruins and a subway, and I'll leave it there.
Okay. Well, great then. Let's
listen.
Wow. Okay, that one went somewhere. Uh, Chase saw a reaction on my face, and we had a good chuckle. Uh, but that one is nothing less, nothing more. We had the context given of the third layer below. We're kind of finding out like a subway, something like that, some ruins of a past civilization. Yeah, I my notes are that I was getting like some kind of like sewer vibes at the start, like some kind of sounds and some kind of like styles of melody and rhythm that kind of reminded me of some other like sewer themes that I've heard in the past. Very foreboding as well. Definitely like getting like the feel like something was there first and something may still be there. And then there was that big rhythm change that almost kind of like came out of nowhere. It was nice because it was kind of using the same like sound palette, of course. So it wasn't like too abrupt, but it was just like it was a very sudden shift. Yeah, Chase, what the heck is going on there? I know there must be some kind of implementation happening.
Yeah, this is where the implementation got really fun, and because there is the task was to give the sense of danger based off of what the developer was giving me for the direction. And they said that it's supposed to be reminiscent of, like, they were referencing the desert biome music from Aground,
Hmm.
but desert biome music is more like it uses Egyptian tones and scales, so I couldn't do that. But if you play the original Ground, it's because of the spin-off specifically. Once you get to this place in the original Ground, this is where all that kind of takes place. That's happening, but it's in a 3D form. So you'll see it as a 2D thing and it doesn't look as scary, but this is where it really gets real. And so you are now at that level. And yes, there was something there. I don't want to give a lot of spoilers away in case people decide to play both games.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some kind of civilization there, so there is a bit of etymology, and that's why. But the thematic version, if you're hearing, is every tone specifically is supposed to sound like a subway of that was alive.
Mm.
So that's the atmospheric form. The shift is typically when you run into danger that is in the subway. I'm not going to say what that is. So that's why there's a transition, and the transition is so cool. Where in terms of how it ramps up, I don't think that the abrupt changes. I like that because it keeps the listener on its toes, but in the game, it's a lot more smooth. I promise.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then I want to know what the inspiration is behind the name of that title. Nothing less, nothing more.
Yeah, I almost forgot about this because I didn't write what the correlation was when I wrote it,
It's not
but
in
I
your
happen to be.
journal?
It's not in the journal, but I was rewatching one of my favorite animes, and I happened to catch the episode I think last week, and they said the line, and I was thinking, "Oh, that's where I got it from." So when I wrote it, all right. So when was this track done? This track was finished 12/23/23. Then I guess I was watching that anime at the time that said that line, and it's like it's this one. I'll have it for something later. I don't know. And
Yeah.
then yeah, this is great.
Nice. What anime was that?
Hunter x Hunter.
Nice. Cool, cool. I'm just asking for posterity. I don't know that many anime.
Oh,
So,
that's great. Not many will.
yeah, that's good. And then, of course, you let us know before we listened that the Korg ES1 was featured on that track as well. Yeah, how did you use that for this song?
That is actually the foundation of what the subway should feel like.
Mm.
So there's in the beginning of the track, there's a specific rhythmic form with a tone, and that tone should feel like as if you're actually moving on the subway, as if it was still
Yeah, I
moving.
felt it kind of like
Mhm,
an oscillating kind of.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool. Nice, nice. Is
And
that just like a natural sound? I don't know how the Korg works, so
I have the video somewhere. Besides this journal, I got video logs, I got audio logs, I got logs.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'll be probably releasing those slowly through like a Patreon or something like that, or the YouTube, or between the two, or things like that. I can find it, but I did document that in the real time when I was actually using it. I did stream it when I used to stream on my Twitch channel. I used to stream behind the scenes composing process, and I think I streamed it that time when I was actually tinkering with it and figuring it out. But it was still the infancy stage of it before I nailed in this actual sound. It took a lot.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you a shout out, gamer composer.
Oh, thank you. I haven't been active for a while, but people can still follow if I decide to come back.
Why not? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. That one's really cool. So now we've gone down 3 layers. Is that just kind of the trend that we're going to follow as we continue on with all the rest of these tracks?
Come on down, Bob Barker.
Come on down, Bob Barker. Cross your transistors on The Price is Right. Oh man, Cross Your
Yes.
Transistors is the name of the next track, the next level. And I hope that the fact that there are more tracks to come means that there are many more levels to be released as well. But yeah, we've got Cross Your Transistors. Obviously, some electrical implications here.
Yes.
Yeah, what's the story behind this track before we listen?
So I believe this one is. Let me see, kind of refresh my mind a little bit. Okay. Wait, is it? Okay, so it's supposed to be referencing one of the DLC tracks called Abyssal Depths, and it's. I don't know. We're gonna have to listen to this one. And I'll get back to you. It's actually like don't remember because I'm conflating it with up with and down without, and depending on the timeline, I think of something. Then I'll be able to kind of give more context. Let's just listen.
All right, we'll do as the man says. Let's listen. This is Cross Your Transistors. Oh, hold on. There we go. We got Chase again. Okay, yeah. That was Cross Your Transistors, and that one, the vibe was not matching anything electrical unless they were an electric eel, because yeah, it was definitely definitely giving water vibes. And Chase, you kind of mentioned backstage that this is one of the ones that didn't really, like, the theming didn't really match the name.
Yeah, so I'm starting to recall things now. The So when people say, like, or what is it? Is a reference. So cross your fingers, right? So like
Mm.
to have hope, and I twisted it to say cross your transistors, meaning like this is things that you're obviously dealing with technology and science within the game, and so that's the phrase that they use for, I guess, that I'm thinking that we'll use in terms of the game for Ground. If they were like the NPCs were talking to each other, like, oh, okay, if you do this, cross your transistors. So that's really cool. Thanks, Dad. I see that there. Thank you.
Nice. Well, I guess it would have, like, it would have been more on theme with water, but it would have evoked a different idea if you'd said cross your streams. Um, oh man, but
That's true.
yeah, but nevertheless, yes, a water theme. My notes are bubbling arps, definitely giving that floating feeling, and just like lots of watery things going on. And yeah, you were talking about some influences of like Subnautica as well, I think, backstage.
Yeah, so this is the theme of Subnautica within the level of the game. And so you're now traversing through the water of the level and that you've discovered, and you're making your way towards somewhere. And that has its own dangers and perils as well. So that's the the amalgamation in terms of why the track should feel like water. Everything thematically, sonically will tie together for the immersiveness of the player, and everything has its transitionary moments as well too.
Yeah, yeah. There were some distinct movements in that track as well, and yeah, some really cool rhythms coming up for what I assume is some more action based implementation.
Yes, yes.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I don't really have any other notes on that one. That one's yeah, that's a water theme. That's really cool. Uh, but then you were saying as well that you were kind of mixing up that theme with up with down without, which is a very interesting name. Are we going into a sky level? I just picture us like we're descending, and then okay, we've got to cross your transistors. We're at like an underground kind of lake, kind of water system, right? Up with, down without. I don't know what to expect. What's in the next layer here? All you're talking, all your layers.
As I said in my previous talk, layers on layers make slayers for players, but that was related to a different game in terms of how I did the dynamic music system. But I never forgot that I came up with that. So yeah, you've actually touched on it. You are moving towards, that's why I said you're moving towards somewhere, and you're moving towards the surface. That's
Mm,
actually the goal of the game. So it's the reverse of Aground, which I love. Like Aground, you're trying to go deeper, and with the spin-off, you're trying to ascend. Just that's your goal. And so that is the layer reversed in terms of where you're having, and you're going to be reaching the surface, and whatever comes with the surface upon the things. This is also in the original game. The
mhm,
surface is where you actually, well, you came from a different spot of where you may be going, but that's the point of like where all this has encompassed. And so that's, it makes sense with the wording. You're going up with but down without. You're going up with something but down without something. And so
mm,
without having this something in between, I've just put those words together to kind of make sense of what the track will allude to.
yeah, and Alexa will be able to know what it is too.
Thanks, Alexa. She's not in my house. I'm
Oh,
just saying thank you.
she's not in my house either. Yeah. MVP, nowhere to be seen. Oh man. Okay, well, cool. So the surface, I'm anticipating that we might get some references to past ground compositions as well. Then.
That's true. Yes. So you should have references to, well, definitely an exact reference to the Blue Marble from the original Ground soundtrack, and I mean exact, and
Nice.
it's very direct form, and because I guess the focus is, it's the first time you're going to see the sky and the sun, and so it's supposed to be inspiring after being underwater for as long as you have been, especially with the destruction. But there are other things happening above the surface. I don't want to give too much away,
Mhm.
but there are things happening above the surface that you need to definitely be cognizant of.
Nice. Okay. Well then, yeah, let's go and witness the sky and the sun for the first time, folks, with up with down without. Chase, let's
Listen, 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 listen.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that one went some places. Oh man. Yeah, my notes as I was just listening there, the opening part had some very humanized sounds, and I kind of like thought of it almost like a choir welcoming you into the light, as it were, as you just finally come to the surface for the first part. And then like it kind of switched to a new a new vibe, a new tempo very quickly. Like it made me want to ask, like, is that first part meant as merely like a fanfare as you come to the surface for the first time? Is that part heard other times that you resurface? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the feeling for that they wanted in terms of you're seeing the sun in the sky for the first time in the game, because you're really deep in the ground, and so that had to be emphasized musically. And then the different transitions are different pockets in terms of where you are on the surface and what's happening, what are you doing, how you're building up, what's the form of it. And there's also the theme of communications. So if you were actually catching some of the motifs and the in-betweens and the references between each other, the blue marble is referencing the earth, but that's possibly where you may or may not be. But your goal in the game is communications. And so it's supposed to reference coming to the surface along with communications too, because remember, Aground is always about progression. What are you doing? What is the story? How is it pushing you forward into the next thing? You can do these little side things and that's great, but it's always like, what is the next step that you need to focus on?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And then yeah, we went to a few places. It kind of like slows down steadily. It made me think, like, if you're coming to the surface from the water, maybe you're starting to feel the gravity take hold a little bit more as you kind of like step out onto the open earth.
Wow. So if you got that without playing the game, then I did my job. I don't have to say anything more.
All right, we're done exactly here, folks. Thank you so much. We'll see you again sometime.
Hold on. We got more to go.
We do. Absolutely.
No, but that's good, because that was the direction of what they wanted. And so again, I've achieved my goal without you being in the room, seeing the acting thing, like sonically being able to achieve that. You haven't played the game. So I know that is exactly feeling of what's supposed to happen. That's why it slows down. It's like, okay, we have a sense of relief. We're probably going to get this here. We're going to do some things there. And we're going to also give this feel of release of anxiety along the way too.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. Well, those were all of my listening notes. I'm sure there's a lot more. There were a few other distinct moments. I think it got a little bit busier near the end too, as well. There was like a kind of a sharp tempo change there. I assume to do with some action.
You want me to be 100% conspicuous? I just spoil everything. I didn't know how to continue to finish writing the 4 minutes. So I just was experimenting musically with what I could do forward to kind of get the sense of the continuation of where I had and then moving forward. Because I didn't want to continue to remix the elements of the Blue Marble from the original soundtrack of the game of Aground. And so I was thinking, okay, how can I expand this, but also still give the feeling that everything else has happened in the soundtrack and within this actual track itself too. So it's again another layer within the layer. I like layers.
It's just like an onion or an ogre.
an ogre. That's a new one.
Oh man, no, Shrek. Excuse me.
No, I picked up on it.
Okay. Oh, a new one. Oh my god, you got me. Wow. All right. Oh, that's really cool though. Up with,
down without.
Yeah, the surface, the sun, the sky, gravity, discovery, recollection, nostalgia to previous Aground songs as well. That's really cool. And then I assume in this discussion about layers, we're just going to keep going up and up and up, and sure enough, the next track is Over the Earth. Are we reaching into the orbits of this planet that we found ourselves on?
Yes, we are.
All right. I know that was a theme in the previous entry, Aground. Yeah, I've got some great expectations. Anything else to preface this song with?
Well, it does take a palette change drastically, and I will discuss why. So that is all I will say about that for now.
Okay. Let's
listen.
Wow. Yeah, that one was really cool. Definitely, yeah, definitely a change in vibe. I have smooth pads, always feel spacey. Uh, you had some really nice, like triumphant sounding sweeps in there. But like you kind of like kept what was going on after and behind it, like in minor. It kind of felt like there was still some mystery line in the background there. Yeah, that was really cool. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I have to say about that track.
Well, that's the first I've heard of it out in context outside of the developers. You know, they approved it, so I didn't know how it was going to take, to be honest with you, because it's I never deviated from a palette that has been consistent for something,
Mhm.
and the direction was to make it epic. And I was thinking, okay, are you sure you want epic? And it's like, well, they were saying like we want an orchestral. I was like, what? We didn't even do anything orchestral
Oh no.
in the beginning of the whole thing. It's like, well, we want Mass Effect. What? Mass Effect? Okay, so all right. Epic orchestral Mass Effect.
Mm.
All right, I guess I'll just do what you asked me to do, and I'll hope that it's gonna work. And so I was kind of nervous because I'm thinking, okay, I don't know how it's gonna blend with the entire soundtrack. I'm gonna write the best I can, of course.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna try and touch Mass Effect with anything, not a short stick, not a long stick, not an arm, not a rock, nothing. I'm just going to write what you think is the epic form of it and then go from there. And thankfully, it is mostly like broke and worked. And so when I broke down, I got to be clear. Actually, game developer wrote an art. I wrote, I think, writing. I think I wrote the blog about this, but in the blog, I discuss why the epic form, what it actually means in terms of words, and words are very important. And so when they was thinking, oh, like when you're in space, it means grandiose and it means big, but they didn't mean like bombastic and all that stuff, because that's what the between of Mass Effect typically would be. So those who haven't played the game, Mass Effect has an orchestral sound, but it's also very synthesized, and a lot of people enjoy that and the feeling in terms of what space is. And so it was tasked to kind of just match the texture rather than just match the sound.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. There was like a retro idea of that is kind of like that I think I hear being drawn from in your take on it. Just kind of like, yeah, like those synthesized orchestral sounds. Oh, hold on. Where did we go? I think you're still no. I think we might have just had a temporary drop. Chase, are you still with us? Check, check, Chase. Oh no. All right. Oh, that's weird. I can see you, but you're not implementing into the scene. Hold on. Let me just see if I can refresh things on my end. We'll get you back here real quick. Check. There we go.
Is the microphone coming through?
Yeah. You're fine.
Okay,
I think something happened on my end, but we're clear now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there was like an idea of like synthesized orchestrated sounds that definitely is what I felt coming from your sound. But yeah,
I don't see the on air thing. Are we on air?
We are on air. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
Don't worry, I got
didn't show it on my end.
You're in OBS. We're good. We're good. You can talk at length about synthesized orchestral sounds now.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was just mostly just trying to make sure the task was achieved in terms of it feeling like that, and it feels grandiose when the player is reaching that state. And if you notice, there's a tie-in to, which wasn't on purpose in terms of up with, down without, it's still layered to that, because if you're going up with something, down without something to get to outer space.
Okay. I think the way that we have this listening party structured, obviously we're breaking down each track, but it sounds like one of the better experiences, well, besides obviously playing the game, is to listen through the tracks in sequence as a whole album, to really get some of those layers and those implementations, get that flow going. Well, coming up next, we have 2 tracks left. One of them is rather short, but we're gonna leave that one for last. Coming up next, we've got the alchemization of energy. That's really cool, and knowing that we have come from the layer of space, I don't know what's the next layer above space. Are we just gonna are we gonna go to the another dimension? Where are we going,
the game
Chase?
or something?
Huh?
Did you play the game?
I have not played the game. I'm sorry, dude. Am I just tapped in right now? What's
You're
going
just
on?
tapped in, or I'm sonically good with just leading on with the names and what's going on. But yeah, there is a number that it's the original track idea terminology is called anomaly. And so I think having in my journal, optimization of energy. I wrote it here. Of course, I had it and it disappeared. The energy is gone. If I remember, so anomaly is the track, but it's related to the magic path. And so the words of inspiration I was thinking of is something that travels through time. And because once you're in space, it is dimensional to some degree. And the anomaly is referenced in the ground. And so I'll just keep saying what that is until people kind of associate what that would typically tie to. And so I wrote, like, in order to get this track done, I had to use some loops and think of the word, quote, magic when selecting the loop. And so I got stuck at 2 minutes and 30 mark. And that's when I had to implement this technique. But I only had to replace one loop section, so one revision was done.
Wow. Good thing you had that journal for such a heady concept. Oh,
yes,
man.
That's what I said.
Alchemization of energy. So I completely avoided the themes of science and magic that were present in Aground. Are those paths present at all in Zero?
Yes, this is actually also tied to the magic path, the specific track. So this is why I'm mentioning anomaly, because it ties to the story and it plays in magical areas and other parts of space that you may be able to traverse through.
Okay, well, that's really cool. Why don't we traverse then through the alchemization of energy? Chase, let's.
If you're saying, if you want to listen, I can't hear you, so I'm trying to listen to you.
What?
But
Oh man! Oh no! That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, let's do that. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. Let's listen. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right, we're just having a couple of issues with the OBS behind the scene, folks. But we got all sorted out. Everything's good. We just heard alchemization of energy. Yeah, we had some wild sounds happening there. Some very alien kind of sounds. There was like, I think midway there was like some nice sweeping tone, just to kind of like give that that feeling of like warping or like a dimensional shift kind of stuff. And there were also like just like some magical little sounds happening in the background too. Very, very mystical kind of stuff going on. Yeah, so we're entering another dimension, whether through science or through magic, perhaps. Yeah, all right. I just gonna say it again. I have not played the game, in case that's still a question in your mind. Oh man.
Still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it. No, yeah, it's so, like I was saying, the direction typically was for it to be like dreamlike or ethereal,
Mm-hmm.
and the areas typically didn't have any action, but they still wanted tension and some things to be kind of fast paced, and so that's typically where I'm pulling this from. And like I was mentioning before, you're just coming into contact in terms of the anomaly, and I'm going to mention that more and more as people kind of get like, when you play the game, like, oh, that's what Chase was talking about, the anomaly. Now it makes sense because I'm trying not to give things away. So if I say this, then it makes sense for that. But also, if you played original Ground, you already typically know what I'm talking about.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't played the original Ground either, but it
Go
sounds
get
like
it. Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, Game Pass, whatever, Steam.
Yeah, I would probably Steam that one, honestly. I've got Steam Link. I feel fortunate because I don't own a Steam Deck, but I have been able to get a Steam Link working pretty good on my phone with a little controller that wraps
That
around
little
it.
thing?
Huh?
That
What do you
little
mean?
box thing?
What little thing?
What's the Steam Link? The little dongle? Or the
Oh,
little thing with
no,
the,
no.
like, it's,
Steam Link. Well, just the app on my phone, so
oh,
I can just stream
oh,
it from my PC. Like if I want to go play my games in my bed instead, or in the bedroom TV, or on the living room TV, it's all streaming from my computer at home. Some people have a hard time getting that to work for some reason, but
I had this little thing. I thought it was like, I don't know what, but it's supposed to be able to kind of stream something from somewhere and do something. I don't know, but I haven't hooked it up at all. So maybe that's what you're talking about. I'm out of the loop.
Oh
Funny, I
no,
work in
it's all
games.
good. Yeah. Steam Link is a really handy app. It's kind of tenuous on network connections and things like that.
Oh
But
yeah, that's not happening for me.
yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I think you kind of made a disclaimer before we even started the show that you had what was the internet provider?
Yeah, T-Mobile, get your shit
T-Mobile.
together.
Oh my god. Oh man. All
You're
right. Well,
trying to
that
put
is.
things in space, and you need to like sort of the stuff out on Earth first.
Oh my god. Well,
All
that
right,
is.
enough
I was going
bashing.
to say that's neither here nor there, but then when you said going to space, I was like, well, that's a little bit where we're at right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We're-
I love how I'm good with segues. I've done this before. I got this.
So, alchemization energy. Maybe they need to work on their alchemization a little bit. But yeah, that's really cool. Obviously, yeah, I don't want you to spoil anything in the game. Definitely, yeah, some really cool sounds in there. Was this still like a continuation of like the departure that you had made from
No, we're
the
done with
over
that.
you're done with that. We're back to okay. You're in space, but you're back home on as far as the sounds are
No,
going.
you're not home. Like you're just this is mostly like the dimensional part of it.
Mhm.
And like I was saying, like now we're, because it's crossing over officially into the hybrid, and also officially tethering the other game because of the
Mm.
other paths. So
Ooh.
now everything is like a culmination of it, and every in that respect. So that's what's important in terms of the sonic texture. That's the cohesion and the feeling of exploration properly.
Wow. Well, I don't even know how to comment on that. That's just incredible. I will play the game. I will play the game. I'll tell you that April 4th when it comes out 1.0. I mean, I could pick it up now, but I
Yeah,
feel confident
just
picking it
get
up.
it now.
Just get it now.
It's all there.
Oh my god. Just go play it on Steam Link.
Yeah, exactly. You're in. After this, go hop. It's night time. Go find yourself the anomaly, and then be like, "Oh, that's what Chase was talking about."
Oh, and everybody at home, everybody listening and watching too, you do the same, okay? So then we can all be on the same page. We'll go into Chase's Discord, and we can all fanboy over it.
That doesn't exist. That dimension is not there.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, sadly, this brings us to the final track. This one is called The Dishonored One. And I have to say, as a Canadian, I'm really happy that you've given it the proper spelling. Dishonored One. Oh man, the game Dishonored doesn't know what it's talking about. But we have one Dishonored. And it's not clear to me whether that is an antagonist, whether that is yourself as the protagonist, but there is music for that, and Chase has written it. Yeah, what can we expect from Dishonored One before we listen to it here, Chase?
So I want to say also, so I'm part British. My mom is like from the UK and everything. So that's part of the dispelling, and I wanted that to be proper because that's like really how I would write some of the words that write color and dishonored and things like that too. So that's why I was laughing. I was like, oh yeah, the Canadians, we get that too. It's like big love. I get it. And so with Dishonored One, it's referenced also from something that you experienced in the original Aground. However, this is also my favorite track for many reasons. Ooh. Many reasons. Number one, I've reached the end of the soundtrack. I'm thinking like, this is the last one. I'm so excited. I've been writing this for 3-something years, this entire soundtrack.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and when I talk about stretching the work, I stretched the work. Like I really was trying to, like with everything I have going on in my life and just traversing my mental states and just trying to bring inspiration and pull, because the flow of it was not the same as for Aground into Aground Zero, and I had to kind of pull inspiration in many different other ways. And so I referenced that in terms of like the notes as well. And I also been pulling into like the different inspirations from different sound palettes and things of that accord. But this is the combat track, and I do combat music differently than I think than most game composers do. I always think of it in a different way. And the way that I came about this was I wasn't saying I was completely elated because I wanted to do a combat track. It's mostly because I was shocked how fast I finished it. I finished it in 2 days.
Ooh, speed run, any percent, yeah.
But that's actually a typical Chase type of process. I typically could, when I was streaming online, I used to be finish a track in a day, 4 hours. So my peak really is to finish a track, no matter how long or it is, like 2 to 4 minutes or whatever. I can possibly do that within 2 to 4 hours. That's at my peak, meaning everything's good in life and everything's like clean and pristine. When it's not, it becomes a dimension. So that's why I was mostly excited. I was like, wow, I finished it in 2 days. I was really, really, really excited to just have it. And the energy behind it just felt really great. And I'm not always someone who like really enjoys the music as I write it in the moment. I have to step away from it. Time has to go up on, and then I come back. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I really enjoyed this. And sometimes I don't even remember that I wrote it. Like it's getting to that point. I'm like, wait, I wrote this? It's like, that's where it comes to. So that's why it's for a multitude of reasons of what's going on. Dishonored Run is related to something that's happened in the game. It is a protagonist of some sort, but it's also related to the anomaly of other sorts. You play the original Ground, you'll understand. But this was really cool in the game overall, and that's all I have to say about it. I've said enough.
Yeah. You said a lot to set this one up, folks. So please enjoy the Dishonored One, and let's
listen.
Wow. Yeah, that one packs in a lot of different ideas. That's pretty intense. Also a little short and sweet. I presume that that one goes on a loop and there's not a whole lot of dynamic implementation on that one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, straight loop. This is for the ones really getting into the battle. And I don't know how fast the players are going to get through if they speed run this. So we want to make it, nice and succinct, but action packed as well.
Mm-hmm. Dang. Yeah, that one's really cool. Definitely different from other battle themes that I've heard. Got that Chase Bethea touch, right? As you're saying.
Yes, yes, yeah. This should be definitely here. Like, oh yeah, Chase did this one, adding it to the video game music workout playlist.
Yeah, I'm trying to. What workout am I doing to this song? Am I doing like rows or what?
whatever,
What's the
whatever you
move
can
here?
run, you can row, you can jump, you can fly, you can fight, and you can crow.
Wow. Okay, I got that one,
Yeah.
dude. That's a reference I haven't heard in a hot minute, and I'm just gonna leave that one on the table. And if anybody here who's watching knows what the heck Chase is talking about, respect. Um,
Nice. I'm glad you caught it. It's one of
yeah.
my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah, mine too. Wow. Well, that brings us to the end. Okay, all right. Thank you, Happy Mochi, for spoiling it in chat. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, since that's spoiled, I'm just gonna say my favorite quote anytime it snows is "It's snowing," and then just slam the door. Oh my gosh, I've got a GIF that's on speed dial for such an occasion. That it doesn't come up much in Vancouver. I'll say that much. Uh, but oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, the Dishonored, not the. I'm adding arbitrary definite articles here,
Mhm.
but Dishonored one, spelled the correct way. Lovely track, loved it.
Thank
Super
you.
suspenseful. Can't wait to actually hear the implementation in the game because I'm going to play it, obviously, as are all of our viewers right now at this moment in time and in perpetuity, of course. And that is what we have on preview for Aground Zero. 9 tracks. How many tracks in total are there going to be once this is all done and out?
It's done and out. It's
It's
all
done and
9.
out. That's all 9. There's
It's all
no more
9.
music to be released
There
at
is
all.
no more music to be released. This is the official Let's Listen party. This is done. We couldn't do it without it. I was not coming here with nothing half baked, nothing, none of that. This is shipping next month. In
Okay.
less than a month.
Oh dang! All right. Well, no. The only reason I'm asking is on Bandcamp it says you get 9 tracks now, plus the complete album the moment it's released. Is that just a
Oh,
Bandcamp error?
is Over the Earth listed?
Over the Earth is on there. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
What?
Uh
It
oh.
should be all 9 tracks.
Okay. No, it is all 9 tracks. I see that. Okay. It says you get 9 tracks now plus the complete album. Led me to believe that there were more songs to be written. But if we've heard all of that,
Oh,
that's
Bandcamp's
great.
playing with you.
What more do we need from Chase Bethea? Anyways, huh? Come on. Yeah, you've done some
Hold on.
incredible work.
Let's
Obviously,
answer.
what is going on with wow, I really apologize, folks. Uh my OBS is not. Yeah, I've got you here, bud, but for some reason OBS does not want to include you. I don't know what's going on. Apologies, everybody who's watching and listening. Of course, this is the first issue that we've had, but yeah, Chase has been incredible to talk to. This game is going to be a lot of fun. As I mentioned, it is in early access now, but it is going to be released as 1.0 on April 4th. Oh, let's see if I can get there. You are
Test 1,
again.
test 2.
Yeah, you are back
I
loud and
can't hear
strong,
you.
bud. You can't hear me? Oh, not this shit again. Okay.
Technical
All right.
dips.
I'll just wrap things up, bud. I'll just wrap things up here. I'm just going to type him a message just so he can read that. But yeah, technical difficulties aside, Chase, it's been really wonderful to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your music and sharing your insight into your process as well. This is a really great soundtrack. There's a lot to and I will use the pun, dig into here. So yeah, it's been really fun listening to this. I encourage everybody to go out and get the game, of course, and to get the soundtrack. I'm going to drop the Bandcamp link one more time in chat here so that you have all that fresh. And yeah, there it is. Folks, yeah, we're going to wrap things up. But Chase, again, it's been wonderful to have you. I wish you could hear me right now, but it's been really great. We're going to have another listening party actually tomorrow night starting at 6 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 p.m. for anyone over on the Eastern Standard Time. And that is going to be for our friends at Super Madness. They're going to be previewing their album for us called Defenders of the City. And yeah, like I said, that'll be on at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And Chase, I'm so sorry for all of the technical difficulties, but we're gonna end things here. And I'll see if anybody is around and wants to continue surfing Twitch. We will find a worthy raid target. But otherwise, yes, thank you so much for being here for our Let's Listen tonight, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.